Siyaphila nokubhala unjani?
No, fine. I think for the record, I know you know us, but that site is
Shine.
Chair. It's a symbol of Armstrong Duma. Our provincial chair.
Igama labantu abadala
Sihle Zikalala, our provincial deputy secretary. Dr. Masaba, known as Jinda, our provincial treasurer, and myself, and Kwazulu Natal. It's my nickname. It's my nickname.
ulindele statement kumlungazana uMavuso ngalelo gama.
No, thanks. It is pleasure for us as the African National Congress in Kwazulu Natal. We have convened this media briefing to give an update on the work of the organization in general and the announcement of its premier candidate in particular. We understand that the citizens of this province has been patiently waiting for this important announcement following the untimely resignation of our premier, Comrade Sihle Zikalala, on Friday. This is correct to give context on the occurrence of the past week so as to assuage the perception created by some sectors of our communities, media, and unchecked critics. From the onset, it is imperative that we give clarity on the decision by our comrade Sihle Zikalala, who was never pushed to resign, but made an offer to us as the leadership, which we firstly declined. However, he made much persuasion which compelled this leadership to accept this decision as our senior and the head of our movement. As much as we disagreed with his offer to resign as the premier, we felt that it is important that we consider his decision and we respected it and eventually we agreed that acrimony as a result of his resignation. As for the movement, we still have a lot of responsibilities that need his experience as a leader to serve our people, and he has agreed to work with us in the provincial government. We are revolutionary to position the entire ANC government to deliver services to the masses of our people in the province of Kwazulu Natal. Our strategy to ensure that we turn the tide against unemployment, fight against gender-based violence and crime. Accordingly, we as the Provincial Executive Committee of the ANC in Kwazulu Natal submitted 3 names of premier candidates to the national officials. It is public knowledge that as the ANC submitted the names of Anncounces Nomusa Dube-Ncube, and Comrade Bani Fraser. The NEC assessment sought to ascertain and ensure that there was a deployment of the best and the most competent cadre as the premier of our province to serve the movement and the people of Kwazulu Natal. Indeed, it was a smooth sailing process completed in 1 day, and the results came back to us as the provincial leadership, of which today we are here to announce. We submitted the names of these comrades based on their experience, and this was a true capital of the ANC, which believes in gender equality. In this province, we have been grappling with gender equality since our nation came into being. As the ANC, we have made a lot of strides to ensure that women occupy strategic positions in broader society, steadily filling up with women. We have to fight patriarchy, which persuades the stereotype that women are powerless and to survive through dependence of men. We are a generation that aims to secure equal rights for women and remove gender discrimination, while promoting full equality with men. This is a very crucial day for the ANC, as we are making history by introducing officially and announcing the first woman premier-elect to the people of Kwazulu Natal. We know that non-citizens embedded in the ANC very old position. Indeed, we pride ourselves that during Women's Month, as the ANC in the province of Kwazulu Natal, we have moved one more step ahead to the realization of women emancipation and the founding principles of the Freedom Charter. Today, it is our great pleasure to announce to you Comrade Nomusa Dube-Ncube as the premier nominee. She is not new in the leadership position, she previously served in various positions in the organization and in government. Born in Kwazulu, Kwazulu Natal Nomusa is armed with a master's degree in public administration, and she currently pursuing a PhD in the University of Kwazulu Natal, in one of the world academic university, which is one of the best in terms of research output. She served as the speaker of our metro, Eteguli Metro, before being assigned to the federal mission as the ambassador to the Czech Republic. She was previously with the Department of Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs as the member of the Executive Council for COPTA for 10 years. Kwazulu Natal Dube-Ncube currently serves as the MEC for Finance. As a liberation movement, we have rejected the notion that women get relegated to second-class citizens. In this leadership, we will understand that women comrades are not mere numbers, as you might also notice during the 9th provincial elective conference of the ANC. For the first time, delegates made history by electing our comrade, deputy chairperson of the Broadways, Comrade Anc as the first ever deputy chairperson who is a female. We are committed to changing the material condition of the people in the province, with women comrades at the head of leadership. Since the ANC took over the provincial government after the general election in 2004, we have been able to extend service delivery and development to marginalized communities. The entire ethos of government has changed from a passive and unresponsive approach to a responsive, participatory developmental approach. As the ANC government, we have also expanded the community works program, built and maintained roads, bridges, stormwater drainage, water and sanitation facilities, public recreational facilities, and other local economic development infrastructure initiatives. We've also upgraded households in the formal settlement and delivered more houses and service stands to poor communities. It is for this reason that the ANC believes that having a woman clinic will also ensure that we are up to the capacity and the skills that Nomusa will bring in dealing with issues of self-delivery. We want to improve the public participation and accountability to our people. It is also very important that we strengthen local economies, thereby creating jobs, fight poverty, unemployment among the youth and women in the province. We would like to thank the ANC employees for their loyal service to the movement and the people of Kwazulu Natal. We have no doubt in our minds that the people of Kwazulu Natal, in their overwhelming majority, will renew the mandate of the ANC in 2024 in order to continue to see further development in their lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. If there will be questions, we are ready for questions. Saba, can you manage questions?
Angeke ahambe kahle laba questions.
My question is number 1. Mota from Sunday World and News 24. 3 for now.
My name is Bosima Hussein, SABC Radio News. The ANC is known to be following demographics whenever they elect leadership. This time around, do you have anyone that is in the PEC that maybe reflects the PEC reflect demographics in the province as well? And also, are we likely to see even the cabinet follow the similar suit as well?
Covered.
Just cover off with News 24. Just in terms of the criticism of Sihle Zikalala, you guys just mentioned that the new leadership didn't want him to leave. So, there was a lot of criticism of his leadership from civil society, from opposition parties, even, particularly with outstanding forensic audits. What's your reaction to that, to a large sector of society wanting him to have left? But you guys, what was the reason for wanting him to stay? And maybe just one more. You know, in terms of the mandate for Nomusa Dube-Ncube, what is your main priority as the ANC president leadership heading into your tenure? What sort of instructions would you have given to her?
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'll take the last question that Kavi asked in relation to why is the leadership of the ANC in Kwazulu Natal did not believe that the premier should leave. Look, any deployee or any leader of government will have issues that he or she has with the society. But we broadly believe that the matters that were brought and made to be of his own capacity were actually really issues that come from that are organizational. And we do not believe that in terms of government, he has done a bad job. In fact, when Comrade Zikalala took office as a premier in 2019, the provincial government had only achieved 2 clean audits. And one of his main responsibilities and the first thing that he gave instructions to the government at the time was that we must make sure that we change the way we account for the funds of the society. As a result, there was a program that was called Operation Clean Audit. And this financial year, the provincial government received 7 clean audits. And that's a huge difference from the 2 that he picked up, or when the 2 that was there when he came. And there's a number of programs that he initiated when he came into government. So as this leadership, we do not believe that he did not do well in terms of government, but we also understood that when we were elected, we did not have a mandate to come and change government. It was not our time to eat, so to speak, because Comrade Zikalala is a member of the African National Congress. He's a leader of the ANC. By the way, being a leader in the ANC is not about being elected only. It's also about your own history and how long you have served in the African National Congress. So when we were elected into office, at no point did we want to change and say, it's our time now, we must be able to beat our own people. No, not at all. And we do not believe that society has really been totally fair in treating him and assessing him. I just made that one example, and there is quite a number of other things that we believe actually he did very well and he led correctly within government. So when he said he would like to resign right at the beginning, we had a proper meeting amongst ourselves and said, no, we don't want you to resign, we want you to finish your term, because it's the ANC that actually put you there. If you remember on our first interview, Comrade Begimtol also indicated that the 5 of us were part of the PEC that actually submitted the name of Comrade Zikalala to the NEC. So we can't now suddenly change our minds about him and his capacity, because we've always been part of understanding and believing in his capacity as a premier. I think there's 2 others. I will just stop on that one. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Makudwa. Greetings to everyone in our midst today. Thank you so much, Provincial Secretary Langamand and the entire officials. The issue of non-racial character of the ANC is the pillar and the fundamental. You will find it in our constitution, you will find it in the strategy and tactics. Kwazulu Natal as well is comprised of different races, and the ANC as a movement has been embracing the different components. The reality is that the conference, if the conference has not elected someone from the national groups, then it's a duty of the PC to ensure that when we do the extension called the co-option, we do co-opt them. So I think it's the reality. But you might find that almost all sectors, ANC has deployed in the strategic pillars, those coming from the national group. So even in this PC, just rest assured that we will co-opt the national group so that they will be part and parcel. Even in our mobilization strategy, they will form a component, and strategic sector must always be outlined as such. So I thought you wanted that, and I think Makudwa has already outlined the strategy. And the ANC as a movement, when they deploy to governments, they just make sure the consistency, what has been achieved. In terms of service delivery, I think a lot has been achieved under the leadership of Comrade Kwazulu. And we are thinking right now, Anncounces Nomusa will just hit the ground running, take it from that level, because we are one ANC, and her assignment in particular will just to ensure, address the issue of the imbalances of the past, create new growth if possible, enlarging the scope of ITALA, because TALA should be licensed so that the issue of loans amongst our youth they must access. I think you know these days, currently the banking sector is not driving a transformational agenda. Comrade Nomusa is also the embodiment of someone who could also drive the issue of unemployment. And in terms of women emancipation, I think she will strengthen that role. She'll be able to work with Abo Mame Makaya, Emma Lokshini, Urban Stream, because characteristics she is able to understand and adapt clearly on what is required by the communities and address the issue of crime, the issue of women oppression. I think we've already highlighted through this statement. If you can just check it background.
Now, thanks. I think there's something that is raised by, I think it was Makosini from SA. I don't know why we should, particularly, it's here the leader of the IFP was unhappy. I think they are unhappy because they are angry that for 10 years they've been in charge of Kwazulu Natal. They have never did anything for the people of Kwazulu Natal. That's why now they see that for the first time you find under the ANC government from 2004, which has schools in Kwazulu Natal. Make sure that clinics are built in the remote areas, in the system and roll out this area of Umsinga, for example. They were there, they've been in charge of government, but they've never did anything. If you come to Kwazulu Natal, for example, the most underdeveloped district and the most poorest district in the country is Zululand district. Why it is poor like that, it is underdeveloped like that, is because it has never been out of the IPH. It has been under the IPH. And the people of Kwazulu Natal, they know that. That's why they are not making any progress there, because where they are in charge, where they've never been removed, you see poverty when you go, you see underdevelopment when you go. Then they are just angry that yes, make sure that the ANC-led government is doing things that they failed to do while they were in charge. By the way, they are not only in charge, they have been in charge in Kwazulu government. They did nothing to grow.
Another side, Commander Goke from ENCK, Kawenda, Newsroom Africa. Any other hand? Evelyn Pungula, Daily News. In that order, colleagues.
Ngiyabonga uSiphamandla Goke wakwa-ENCA. Has the officials of the ANC and the PEC given the premier nominee a mandate to reconfigure the executive? If so, does that include the deployment or inclusion of two officials, that is the provincial chairperson and the provincial treasurer? And when do you expect the legislature processes? I know this question should go to the Speaker of the Legislature, but well, according to your plan, dependent on the legislature, when do you expect that the process will be finalized in terms of nominating and electing the premier inside the legislature? Thank you.
Thank you. A few questions. I'm not sure if the Premier-elect, I guess, can speak to us, but if there's just one issue that you would like to tackle with a tangible step, can you maybe share it with us now? And then, Mr. Duma, this is the first time you're addressing the media in your capacity. Firstly, in your new deployments going forward for various MECs and legislature, how are you going to actually deploy? Are you looking at political positions, or are you really basing the people that you're deploying on what they can give to that certain position? I just want to clarify, because we see a lot of political deployments, and that's been an issue. And then if you can just share for us, why didn't you consider yourself as a nominee?
Mr. Kwazulu?
No, that, yeah.
Mr. Kwazulu? Thanks. Leadership.
No, maybe to start with that one, you see, Parliament will come, but we can't expect the chair to deploy himself. And we are not here for deployment, we are here to serve. That is why the chair you couldn't say just because you are elected, then the chair must be the premier. We looked at many things, and we are very confident that Kwazulu Nomusa, as the chair was saying, will hit the ground running. And she is ready for the task, and we are confident that she is going to serve the people of KwaZulu Natal correctly. As for the other things that Pamanda was asking about, we have not given our nominee any mandate, so you will need to wait for her to take in office, and anything else as the ANC. One thing you must know, we want to put the people of KwaZulu Natal first, and make sure that every process that needs to be followed is followed. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much. Questions to everyone. One, we're here to announce the premier election. I think we must understand that we're not dealing with the issue of executive. As the premier elect, she was an MEC for finance. For sure, now you know that will be one vacant post. Then will allow the premier to apply her mind in terms of the Constitution of the Republic. We don't this by law. The premier is the one who appoints executive, the MECs. I think let's allow that process. And in terms of election of the premier, it's a process of legislature. We will, from the ANC point of view, we've just announced the premier elect. Will then allow the processes of legislature, from legislation to take a process of it. I think it was important to say that we were dealing with that matter. There is no, the chair was elected by the branches of the ANC Kwazulu Natal to lead the ANC, not to lead government. Those are two different things. As the chair is leading the ANC, and we're happy from where we're seated, and the other issues we're going to deal. By the way, he's the chair of chairs in legislature. He's deployed by the ANC. I don't understand the other deployment that we are referring to. I think it's important that we stick to that. And also the question that was raised on the geographic in terms of ANC. The PC members that were elected by the membership of branches across the province, irrespective of which corner of the province. And I think we're fine with that, and we'll respect the decision of the price delegate to a part of the provincial conference. Thank you very much.
No, thanks. I think one should mention, I think I did mention, I think it was an interview with Paman, but journalists sometimes they sleeps on their memory, some of the things. They said, when we're processing this thing, in the official, there are two MPCs already. Mark is an MEC for health, Shomuga is an MEC for Kokta, but on their own, they said, we don't think we're ready for premier. Let's give somebody to an experience. Ruma said, I'm not ready to be a premier. Then it was an easy sailing process because they said, we're not ready for this thing. Let's give somebody who's there, who have been there, who's senior than all of us, who have been, who will be accepted by people of KwaZulu Natal and all that. And then it was a sailing process. It's not that these companies are not there for themselves. They are there for the people of KwaZulu Natal. Yes, I know we will be looking like young kids who can't think. But unfortunately, we have surprised many because for the first time, we have submitted 3 names, females. We're clear that we're the female candidate. We're clear on that, whatever outcome. And then we know that the one we've submitted and the one that will be endorsed is the best amongst us and all that. Then, of course, I think Comrade Nomusa is correct that let's allow, once the processes are done, the Premier to allow the Premier to apply her mind. And then comes to the ANC and say, remember, this thing started at that level. It doesn't start from the ANC. Start from there to allow her mind, say, I'm here now, I think that's how I think we need to go forward. Then we will work a smooth process like that. And then you will be informed about those decisions if they do happen. Then let's wait, let's not put the cart before the horse. Commander from that's why man.
If I may come in, Commander, I was going to say it too soon. That was just going to be my response. Too soon. However, I think the leadership has responded adequately to the matter. The only point I wanted to speak to is the matter of having a female as a premier or a premier nominee. We are way behind time on that. As the province of Kwazulu Natal, we really needed at some point to make sure that our female leaders are given the opportunity to lead. They have the capacity. They have proven that they can actually lead. So when an opportunity presented itself, albeit too soon, because we probably didn't think it was going to happen now, we probably would have done this in 2024. But when an opportunity presented itself, we said, certainly this is the time for us to actually make sure that female leaders are given the opportunity. Comrade Nomusa, as you would all know, I mean, Comrade Nobala was just tabulating some of the areas where she led. She has been a speaker, she was a chief whip in the legislature, she was MEC for COCTA, she was MEC for economic development, and in all the deployment that she has been deployed in, she has led very well, not fairly well, she has led very well. So that is what we wanted to recognize. And by the way, it's one of the mandates that conference gave us as this leadership, to make sure that when we talk about gender equity and gender equality as the African National Congress, members of the ANC wanted to see that in practice, and this is what we brought to you today.
Thank you. There was a question as well. What are the tangible things that the new premier will do if given a chance? Comrade Nomusa is deployed by the ANC, and the ANC has the resolution from the conferences, different and tangible things, the issue of expropriation of some strategic land, make sure that you create a conducive environment for business to thrive, make sure that you deal with unemployment, make sure that you deal with inequality, make sure that you deal thoroughly with poverty, ensure that the issue of rural empowerment is done, women emancipation, and the APPs and the budget has been done already. Comrade Nomusa is going to be proceeding what has been started by the ANC. So don't think that she will be encompassing new things from her concept. She will be implementing the ANC policies to the T. So I think we must outline that strategy. And the comrade has already mentioned and managed some perception that has been created by the media that as an individual you can just drive a show on your own. We as the collective should implement what is the outcome of the ANC conferences. She will just be seen around moving in tertiary institutions, making sure that the students are equipped thoroughly for the fourth industrial revolution, as already the chairperson has already mentioned this side. I think we can just hold it at this point in time, comments. Let us thank the media for affording us this opportunity. There's still more questions.
We can bring many questions and like we can answer any question.
Just remarks.
Just one bite, one last round of questions.
And then maybe remarks from the premier.
No, just hold on. Let me start with Anc Kwazulu and you young men. And then you follow the last question.
These things of young men.
Sorry, Velen. There's one question that was asked leadership from Karinda, which was not answered.
Oh no, I had another question.
She was asking tangible things.
Yeah.
So you have dealt with that.
No, but you will follow them. Let's start with Velen.
Thank you, sir.
That's not. I was talking to get hold of Unopala. I don't know whether we can have the spokesperson now.
Oh, we are with you now.
I was a complainer.
Is all I was trying to get hold of.
You wanted to get news before time.
Sorry.
Let's get spokesperson anyway.
Yes, my name is Tandlamabaso from Eyewitness News. These things of young men, I don't know. Can we get some remarks from the Premier-elect, please?
Farinda?
You mentioned that you want the premier not to be an individual who runs the show on their own. Is this the issue you had previously with the
No. He was trying to explain to you that we are working on a system of collective leadership. It's not that. Remember, in South Africa, political parties contest elections, and they put a plan in terms of the manifesto. We'll do 1, 2, 3. Vote for us. Then you are voted. Then those who are deployed, they are there to implement an ANC mandate. They are not implementing their own views and their own ideas. That's what the chairperson was trying to say. That the premier is not going to implement, because you wondered what is the premier going to do on his own. He's going to implement an ANC mandate, because it's ANC that has won elections.
You can allow comment. So just to echo some sentiment.
Sasokuhlupha usunduna nkulu asekagana.
Residential units for flood victims. Asking my remarks before speaking the traffic no one.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Chair, person of the ANC, Nobala, and all comrades officials for this opportunity. I just want to say that I do accept the deployment by the ANC, and also wish to thank the trust that the ANC has given to me to be able to lead a collective in government. I indeed going to be working with the ANC leadership as well as all my colleagues in government to ensure that we deal with the crippling issues that we are still facing in our province, those of dealing with the socio-economic challenges that we are facing, issues of unemployment that we are facing as a province, but also more, if you look at our National Development Plan and our provincial growth and development strategies, it's talk about government that needs to be able to champion the services to the people. But also it talks about the capable state that will have to work around as a leadership. But it also talks about the economic growth, even economic growth, that needs to reflect the demographics of our people, but also needs to ensure that even people in the rural areas do get to have the opportunities in terms of the economic development in those areas. So we are going to be working with all our structures in ensuring that indeed the policies that the ANC have given us as the ruling party are the ones, because the policies are clear, that the ANC is here to unite the people of South Africa. The ANC's character is that one of non-racial, non-sexism, that one that thrive to ensure that indeed there is unity amongst all our people. So I do wish to express my appreciation to the whole leadership, including the national leadership, the The interview was quite intense. It took about more than an hour, and it really dealt with the policies that the ANC is seeking to achieve. That one of even economic growth, as I said, but also the eradication of poverty. Right now, we are in the month of August, and I'm sure our leaders, such as Abo Mama or Umqenge, Abo Mama or Dorothy, Abo Mama Uwini, and many of our leaders, where they are rejoicing that during this month, the ANC is the champion of non-racialism, non-sexism, is indeed ensuring that our women who are capable are given the responsibility to lead, and I humbly accept and wish to thank once more and commit really that we will not disappoint the people of Kwazulu Natal. I know we have many challenges, but as the leadership has said, we need to sit down, we need to settle, and we will then be able to give you a statement once we have worked through some of the priority areas in terms of our conference resolutions, but also in terms of what is it that we need to do. So I do want to thank the opportunity, Chair, once more.
Thank you so much, Zoele. I think we've covered the length and breadth of what was required, and we want to thank the fourth estate, and we are going to work together from now onwards. We hope to maintain this relationship. We hope to ensure that don't scope what is not required of you. We are going to compliment you. We are going to work nicely as a collective. Soon, we're going to know from our side who is the provincial spokesperson. So the issue of the outcry and lambasting the provincial secretary as if this is an imbizo is going to come to an end. We want to profusely apologize for starting a bit later because of ensuring that everyone is here to maintain the things, but we'll have a smooth relationship. From now, we'll update you as well in the sitting. So let us thank you once